Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about the Marvel merchandise sale decline because this was inevitable. I mean, hello, Marvel. Disney did it with Star Wars. You knew it was coming for the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the same time, while everybody was trying to be like, oh my god, these characters are selling. They're so amazing. This is so cool. Well, if it was so cool, these merchandise sales will be high, and they're not. And I always had said that. I always would tell people who would like to attack me when I call out the BS from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I said you can't race swap characters and then think that people are going to buy the race swap version of the original character. They're not. Just because there are people who say that they love it, they're not going to. I already said that Namor is going to be better than the race swap Namor. It's just fact. That is the truth. You can't get mad that people do not want to deal with race swap characters. The merchandise has failed so hard, and it's just not something people want. But no, we have to make it, we have to force people to like it. What happened with the Star Wars franchise? They put all those all new, diverse female characters in the merchandise, and now they can barely sell Star Wars merchandise, right? It's kind of crazy. Don't nobody want to admit it, but it's the truth. Like Todd McFarlane said, boys don't like female characters as much as they think. And what Disney thought they were going to do, Disney thought, oh, look, we have the Disney Princess franchise, and the Disney Princess franchise sells, right? That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. But the Princess franchise is targeted for girls. It knows its audience. Notice how I said the Disney Princess franchise, because when it comes to male characters, they don't give the male audience what they want anymore. Yeah, there are fan favorite female characters, but could you think about it? In the Disney Princess franchise, are they making things for the guys to get? And the answer is no. The answer is always no, because they don't care. They think that they can get the same audience that they had before, and it does not work like that. You cannot force change on people and then think that you can just do whatever. That's not how this works. You can't change everything about the Marvel Cinematic Universe or even Star Wars and then expect people to be like, yeah, this makes sense. We should definitely force all of these female characters on people. And on top of that, a lot of these female characters are not sellable because, sad to say, a lot of these female characters are not popular enough and aren't even sexy enough. Y'all won't even make the characters look sexy. Y'all won't even put them in iconic costumes that people want. You won't even give them boobs or asses. So why would a boy want flat-chested, covered up female characters? It doesn't work like that. None of this works like that at all. Because if we also look at the sales right here, it's basically saying that Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, huge Disney bus confirms merchandise sale. So basically, all of these changes where, phase 4 is going to be about diversity, inclusion, stuff like that. That's not how this works. You cannot force people to accommodate to anything at all. You brought Marvel and Star Wars because you wanted a male audience. You got the male audience, and then as soon as you got the male audience, you wanted to change everything about the franchise that the male audience loved. Everything was problematic. Everything wasn't fair for women. Everything wasn't fair for LGBT and diverse people. And this is what you did. You doubled down on it. You tried to change something that was already a winning formula. And now these toys cannot sell this stuff because I've seen it. I know that they aren't selling. A lot of these toys, especially the female characters, are sitting on the shelf. And even then, a lot of the toy stores are refusing to buy them as well. So basically, they talk about the Disney Star Wars following The Last Jedi and its consumer product division, and how comparable it is to what Marvel is doing now. And it says even if you go over the whole go woke, go broke thing, Marvel, there's an industry insider that offers a look into Marvel's merchandise sales, provoking Marvel is a huge buzz, which I had already said because I had said, when you think about it, look at the merchandise at the parks, or the fact that they have a amusement park, but it's the same thing with the comic books. If the merchandise was sellable, why would they purposely go up on the price of this stuff? The reason why they purposely go on the price of this stuff is because they have to make up for the loss. Because again, it's the same thing I told T. Franklin. When you do the wholesales or whatever, you sell in a bulk. You force people to buy a large quantity of stuff in order for it to work. If they didn't buy large quantities of something, you wouldn't be able to make that sale of that kind of stuff. And what you're doing is you're making it look like those things are doing well, when truthfully they aren't doing well at all. But Lord and behold, nobody wants to listen because everybody wants to be like, oh, nobody knows what they're talking about. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. I've been saying that for a long time. I said, if the comic book industry and if Marvel and Star Wars was doing so well with their merchandise stuff, why is every couple of months these books, these toys, these figurines, the merch itself is going up? The reason why they're doing it is because they have to make up for the loss of people who are not buying this stuff anymore. That's what it is. But nobody wants to admit that. And now you have an insider that says, hey, Disney been fudging the numbers. Of course they have. I could have told you that. And basically they want to talk about with Marvel, with Star Wars, it was The Last Jedi. With Marvel, it was Captain Marvel when she made her way into Phase 4 because Kevin Feige rushed her ass in there. Basically, the only thing that's really keeping the merchandise afloat is Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, right? And Spider-Man is really the only one growing. The fact that y'all precious Sam Wilson as Captain America isn't sellable as much as Sam Wilson as Falcon. Doctor Strange is sellable, but he isn't more sellable than Iron Man or Thor. You get what I'm saying? Thor is more sellable, but he's not. But Jane Foster and Valkyrie are not sellable as much. Because I know y'all don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. You cannot force this stuff down people's throats and then think people are just going to buy it. It does not work like that at all. And even with Black Widow, you had an opportunity to do something cool with her, but over time you've been trying to scale her back. You've been trying to make her less sexy. You've been trying to make her this whole Me Too feminist icon, and that's not how this works. When people see Black Widow, people see this sexy, voluptuous Russian woman. You know what I mean? With, you know, showing the cleavage, showing the titties, having a firm ass in a latex suit. Nowadays, I mean, look at the recent Black Widow, and then you try to replace her for Yelena, and even though the actress is charming, she is not Black Widow. She's not the Black Widow that people want. And then again, with Shang-Chi, it wasn't all bad, but it's been rejected by an Asian audience. Whether I believe the movie is insulting to Shang-Chi or not, people did not like Shang-Chi. So again, this whole thing about, oh my God, it did so well at the box office. No, it really did not do as well in the box office. People swear up and down that these movies did. Black Widow didn't do well. The Eternals crashed and burned. And then, even before then, they put a lot of money into the Eternals and their action figures, their merchandise and everything. And they failed at the box office. It failed in the toy store. It was on clearance before the movie released because, you know why? Because people didn't want to see it. And on top of that, you race and gender bend and sexuality swapped a lot of characters. Y'all keep thinking that this works, that this is a turn on for people. No, it does not work. You cannot change these classical characters, force diversity in them, or try to replace them for female characters and then think that you're going to be able to sell merchandise to that, because your female audience is not the same as your male audience. And even if that was the case, you already push people who would actually want to buy this stuff because of the fact that you have a whole message of females are better, men are trash. If you don't like it, you're a sexist, homophobe. All of those is the phobic nonsense. Okay, so again, like I always said, if that's the case, you can't expect your audience to buy and support your work. It makes no logical sense. You can't insult the audience and then expect them to show up. And again, you can't change these characters, these classic characters. A lot of these characters have been for 80 something years, right? People know what they look like. And for you to sit up there and change them around because diversity and inclusion, or because you want more females or you want more diversity, it does not work like that. You can't get mad that that's not how that works. And we're seeing the ramifications of it all right now in real time. It is not working. And then with Doctor Strange, you failed with Doctor Strange as well when it comes to the merchandising, because again, a lot of the characters weren't likable. Scarlet Witch wasn't likable. You covered her up, and then you put American Chavez in there for no damn reason. Doctor Strange was a side piece in his own damn movie. A lot of this stuff is reflective to your merchandise. When you turn the audience off, it's not working. And it's the same thing with what's going on with She-Hulk. You had her twerking with Meg Thee Stallion, and you think that what that's supposed to sell She-Hulk toys or merchandise? I mean, for who? Maybe some females might, but for your comic book fans, for your collectibles, maybe. But it's not enough of them to justify these crazy changes. If you look at most of the MCU Phase 4 characters, most of them barely have good superhero costumes on. They don't look like anything from the comic books. You know, race, gender, and sexuality swapped so many of these characters, and you think people are supposed to be like, yeah, this is exactly what I want. No, this is not what they want. This is why they're failing. This is why it's not working. And all you have to do is just look at this stuff, you know? And even Love and Thunder just did not work. And then look, and let's even talk about the characters, where you have the Disney Plus show stuff. Kevin Feige confirmed Doctor Strange wasn't allowed in WandaVision because he's a white male. Loki was replaced with Sylvie. Falcon replaced Captain America, where it reveals that Falcon actually outsells Falcon as Captain America. Hawkeye is replaced by Kate Bishop. And Moon Knight, let's be honest, they race swapped, overcomplicated his costume, and then he was barely in his own show. So make that make sense. And then everything has changed about Kamala Khan in the MCU, where they're trying to tease that she's the first mutant in the MCU, which makes absolutely no sense because they already explained the Inhumans with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Already posted a video about Quake explaining that. If you want to check it out, it's on my Twitter. Look at it there, okay? And then She-Hulk has been rejected by fans because you completely changed the origin of the character so a man doesn't save a female. And the show probably has the worst writing and special effects from Marvel in the past 20 years. Yes, you put these tired-ass women who don't even like the comic books, who don't know anything about writing in general, and you put them on a show to write about a lawyer, and they don't know how to write anything about a lawyer at all. And make it make sense. And again, you think you're going to sell this stuff? And that's what happens when you have an agenda. That's what happens when you change it. And then guess who suffers? These stores. The people who work for these toy factories and stuff like that. They have to lay people off because these toys aren't selling. This merchandise isn't selling like that because you made an assumption, just like Todd McFarlane said. Boys want to play with male action figures and they want to play with male characters more so than female characters. Sorry, you can't make 50% of your line females and then think that was going to be something cool. Like if you look at Thor Love and Thunder, you had Jane Foster, you had Valkyrie, right? And and that's 2 out of the 4 other collectibles, and that's fine. But people rejected those characters because they weren't organic to the story. And then you had the nerve to try to do the whole thing where you don't call her Valkyrie anymore, you call her King Valkyrie. That is a turnoff. You cannot force that kind of nonsense on people. It does not matter who you are. It does not work. And then they also said what is happening to Marvel right now is what happened to Star Wars, because when Disney brought Star Wars, instead of going by what the original creator did, George Lucas, you decided that you had to put diversity, inclusion, female empowerment on there. The Force is female, and you put these ugly ass female characters in there. They're unappealing. They're ugly. They're terrible. And they don't sell. I'm sorry, they don't sell. They don't work. And you can't get mad that people don't want to deal with that. And you can't get mad that people rejected it, because the shit is garbage. Garbage is garbage, no matter what it is and whatever the reason is. Garbage is garbage. And if you go by the reports with The Last Jedi, reports of the merchandise of the investors, as the company now combines the consumer and its park division, what it does is hides the loss of merchandise and makes it both appear successful. What's really going on is that the success of the parks division offset the low revenue of the consumer product division. Of course, just like they said, for example, in the Disney 2022 investor report, and it's reported by Parks Experience and Consumer Division, the revenue is up by 70% from last year. But if you take in the actual numbers, reveal that Parks and Experience is up 95%, while consumer products really saw no gain at only 2%. But again, that's why I'm saying they're using the park to pretend like all of their movies, their shows, their merchandise, and everything is perfect when it's not, because they have a park, they can offset a lot of the losses and make it look like they're successful when they weren't. And I've always said that the reason why it looks like Marvel is doing so well is because they have a park. If they didn't have Disney World, if they didn't have Disneyland, if they didn't have the Disney parks in other parts of the country, no, this stuff would have been sold horribly. And again, even then, they have to increase the sale in order to justify the cost of the losses. And it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? And it's like Marvel fans aren't into buying it. So what's going on? Well, if fans aren't buying it, it means they don't like it. Earlier, we saw reports that Marvel has been failing to deliver on Disney Plus, as Business Insider said, which follows Disney stock dropping significantly, state that Marvel shows on Disney Plus are only catering to existing fans and not bringing on in any new subscribers. And it said that while Marvel has had success with existing subscribers, the show hasn't gone far enough to attract new fans and growing the subscriber base. So evidence that Marvel isn't doing anything for Disney Plus comes from the ratings for its two most recent shows, Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk, which is pretty much in the gutter, especially Ms. Marvel, as they received the lowest views. More sources also said that it comes from the Wall Street analysts who has stated they're skeptical of Disney Plus streaming service and its Marvel Star Wars brand ability to bring in new consumers and new subscribers. Excuse me. And we can also know that the shows does not bring all the success. Here's why they have ultra low budget from Disney. Kevin Feige's Phase 4 approach to movies hasn't been all well received either, as they are among the lowest Marvel films at the box office. Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals are all at the bottom. Both Doctor Strange 2 and Thor Love and Blunder are considered to have not lived up to box office potential. And Doctor Strange was follow-up to the multi-billion-dollar Spider-Man No Way Home multiverse movie, but failed to reach $1 billion when it should have easily done so. And Thor Love and Thunder specifically down compared to Ragnarok. And insiders also say that, of course, with Marvel shows and the movies not being successful, that is going to trickle down to merchandise sales. As Toy Reports says that Spider-Man merchandise is really the only one that's selling, that Captain America and Iron Man are the big sellers, and none of the Phase 4 stuff from that Kevin Feige brought into the MCU is selling. Get this, that even the report that Disney mandates what sell, and they mandate female representation. But the problem is none of the female representation is selling, so that cuts into profits of what does sell. Again, that being Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, with the lesser extent to, but larger than Thor and Hulk. So here's the characters that do sell, but yet you continue to forcefully double down on female characters and wonder why it wasn't working. You focused on representation and thought that that was going to work. It's not working, as you can clearly see. So Disney and Marvel knows that the female characters don't make money, and they mandate retailers to sell them anyway, all at the cost of revenue profit for themselves and the retailers. If you ask me, that's pretty stupid. And it says, even now, the Star Wars merchandise continues to be a disaster. Insiders also said that Star Wars, following The Last Jedi, we can also add that fans didn't get back the Mose Ingram Inquisitor lightsabers at Hasbro. Furthermore, just as reports have said that passed on how there are no new Star Wars movies being made due to the reception of The Last Jedi. No new Star Wars movies in the theaters. It's hurting the brand. Of course it is, because of the mandate, because these are disasters. So basically they're saying the Princess line is doing fine for most license holders, no issues. Lucasfilm is a disaster. The new characters aren't pulling consumers in, and even worse is the classic characters are even seeing diminished returns because of the fall of the Star Wars The Last Jedi. If it ain't selling, Walmart doesn't want your dead plastic garment on whatever. Also, the brand is no longer a theatrical brand, and it didn't go well with business partners, of course. And this is what happens. And then they said the Marvel merchandise is also down by 50%. So regarding Marvel merchandise, they said the insider reveals that Marvel is down 50% and its number of units sold down to 30% in dollars, and that the Eternals is at worst. So the new stuff is failing. But Spider-Man and Captain America are holding everything together at point. So if Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man goes down, that's it for the Marvel franchise. But it's not. And they said the Eternals have sold the worst out of all of the Phase 4 stuff. And they said, and generally state, the truth is female heroes do not sell merchandise. And that's true. And Marvel keeps asking for it. But the problem is that these characters don't work. And Marvel asking for 50% female representation, but it's not 50% increase in sales. People are rejecting them because they're ugly, they're unappealing, they're not what people want. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this until people get this through your thick skull. You cannot force people, your consumers, to just go with the flow. It doesn't work like that. That's why the comic books are failing. That is why these movies are failing. The audience is getting tired. Your traditional comic book fan is getting tired. And when people get tired, they stop buying, they stop supporting, they give up. And that's what's happening. They have too many female and diverse characters clogging up the shelves, which it could have been for good characters that people actually want. What they should have did is, if you wanted a female character to be sold, you should have put them in a pack that people want. And you should have made the female appealing to what people want, but you didn't. You set up there and forced this down people's throats, and now look at it. The stores are marking it down. This doesn't make any kind of logical sense. So how is any of this going to work? Marvel Plus doesn't even pull in with consumers. Wall Street also said that virtually none of the TV characters even register with consumers for merchandise purposes at all. And like I said, all of these other characters sell better than the TV stuff. Falcon sells better as Falcon than he does as Captain America, even though they're trying to force that down your throat. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying, the same thing when I had saw the Black Panther stuff. I said, this shit sucks. How the hell are you going to have a Black Panther franchise without Black Panther? And I'm talking about the original Black Panther. Everybody think that you can just replace him with Shuri. It doesn't work like that. People are letting you know this does not work. So Marvel wants to push all these characters, but yet they're failing. So what's going to happen? I don't know. But what I do know is that you cannot force consumers to accommodate to the whims of people who never cared about these properties and franchises before. Comic book characters, comic book fans have made this stuff popular. When normies got into it, then y'all wanted to try to change everything for them. You thought that you can race swap, gender swap, sexuality swap, and put 50% more females into a brand that wasn't made for that. Like I said before, your target audience is mostly straight, white, and male. Mostly straight males. So if you're not making toys and figurines for them, then who the hell are you making this shit for? You get what I'm saying? You can't give people garbage and expect them to just be okay with it. And it doesn't work like that. So y'all need to figure something out. But I had already told y'all that this was happening. But nobody ever wants to believe me. But it is what it is. But that's why it sucks. That's why everything is failing. That's why these movies are having low box offices, because of the failure. But hey, what do I know, right? I don't know what I'm talking about. But it is what it is. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.